Welcome to Love Will Love, a place where emotions meet stories. Here, we explore love, mystery, and the moments that change our lives forever. Every episode is a new journey. Are you ready to feel it? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and join us for the next story of Love Reborn.
She never imagined that a simple Christmas card one she drew as a child could come back years later and completely change the course of her life. But that's exactly what happened. A piece of paper, some doodled snowmen, and a name written with a marker became the thread that tied two people together through time. We first met when I was 7, and he was 9. It was at my best friend's birthday party. Her older brother happened to be his best friend, and that's how our little worlds collided. Back then, we were just kids running around the backyard, chasing balloons, eating too much cake, and daring each other to play silly games. To me, he was just another boy, and to him, I was just another girl. Nothing more, nothing less. After that, we crossed paths occasionally. Weekend barbecues, family game nights, little gatherings where everyone knew everyone. Sometimes we'd trade jokes or run in the same relay race, but there was nothing that seemed life-changing. And then, when I was 10, my family moved away. I thought the thread between us had been cut forever. Life carried me to a new school, new friends, and a different routine. For years, he became nothing but a faint memory, the kind you file away and only revisit when old photos resurface. Fast forward 4 years. I was 14, shy, insecure, and caught between the awkwardness of childhood and the pressure of becoming a teenager. That summer, my family planned a trip to Kings Island, a massive amusement park. I had an extra ticket, but all my friends bailed. Stubborn as I was, I refused to let it go to waste. On a whim, I opened Facebook and messaged him. We hadn't talked in years, and honestly, I wasn't sure he even remembered me. But to my surprise, he said yes. That trip became the turning point. We rode roller coasters until our voices were hoarse from screaming. We ate funnel cakes with powdered sugar dusting our clothes. We laughed about silly things, shared secrets we didn't expect to, and for the first time, I noticed how much he'd changed. He wasn't just the boy from backyard birthday parties anymore. He had this calm confidence, this warmth, that made me want to stay by his side a little longer. And then, during a quiet pause in the day, he said something that stunned me. "Do you remember that Christmas card you made years ago? The one with the snowmen?" I frowned, confused. I had made hundreds of doodles as a kid. "What about it?" His smile was soft, almost shy. "You put my name on one of them. I saw it, and I knew you hadn't forgotten me." The memory hit me like lightning. That card, handmade, simple, covered in snowmen, each with the name of a friend. To me, it was nothing special, just a kid's craft project. To him, it was proof. Proof that I'd remembered him. Proof that even after moving away, he'd mattered enough to make it onto that little card. I swallowed nervously and whispered, "Did you ever forget me?" He shook his head without hesitation. "Never." That sentence changed everything. In that moment, the world tilted slightly, and I realized this wasn't coincidence. We didn't officially call it dating right away, but from that day, we were inseparable. He became my confidant in high school, the one I'd call after a tough exam, the one I'd whisper my biggest fears to under the bleachers. We went to football games, studied late into the night, argued over music, and held hands like it was the most natural thing in the world. Of course, it wasn't always easy. We were young, and life constantly tested us. Distance, exams, family drama. It all tried to pull us apart. But every time we found our way back, held together by that invisible thread that had been woven years ago with crayons and paper snowmen. College brought its own challenges, different campuses, demanding schedules, and the temptation of new beginnings. But while many young couples drifted apart, we refused to. We carved out library dates, survived on cheap takeout, and walked under dim streetlights when we couldn't afford fancy dinners. Sometimes we fought. About time, about priorities, about silly misunderstandings. But neither of us could imagine walking away. And then came the day he proposed. Not in some extravagant way, but in the most perfect, thoughtful gesture I could ever imagine. He handed me a framed piece of paper. Inside was a replica of that long-forgotten snowman Christmas card. But this time, instead of a dozen doodles, there were only two. One snowman had my name, the other had his. And beneath them, in neat handwriting, were three words: "Forever with you." I burst into tears. That silly card I had forgotten, but he had treasured, had come full circle. It wasn't just a proposal, it was proof that sometimes love is built not on grand moments, but on tiny ones. Moments that don't feel significant until you look back and realize they were everything. Now, 2 years into our marriage, I still think about that card. On hard days, when life feels heavy, I remember that love often hides in the smallest acts of kindness, that the doodle of a child could carry so much weight, that he never forgot me, even when I thought I was long forgotten. Our story reminds me that sometimes the universe is writing things in the background long before we're ready to see it. Every laugh, every delay, every little decision, they're all part of a bigger design. So if you're listening to this, wondering if love will ever find you, let me remind you. Sometimes the things that seem the smallest, a note, a smile, a memory, can change everything. Because sometimes the greatest love stories don't begin with fireworks. They begin with something as simple as a handmade Christmas card, and someone who never stopped waiting for you to come back.
If this story touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Love has many faces. Which one will we discover next?